If I say, Tyler, there's a pink elephant right here, and this pink elephant has given my life joy and peace and satisfaction, are you going to believe in that pink elephant? No.
No, but...
But if I offer you $1 million to believe in that pink elephant, will you believe in it?
I think science has all the answers. I think scientists do not.
Science has all the answers?
Science, if I didn't know this tree was made of cells and molecules, it still would be made of cells and molecules. I just wouldn't know.
How does science explain something like information?
Science cannot, I'm sure there are
explain it, exactly.
I'm sure there are people who are much smarter than me that could. No,
I'm not going to let you out that easy. You didn't answer the question. You said, I don't know, and I'm sure there are people who are way smarter than me who can answer that question.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You know there's a humanities department here. You know there's art, there's beauty, there's consciousness, there's love. I mean, the only type of proof you can find, ultimately, probably is, to a small extent, in mathematics. And I love that you talked about mathematics, because I think that mathematical laws are one of the best pieces of evidence for the existence of God. The intricacy in them and how we can pull the Pythagorean theorem from mathematical laws is pretty impressive in its complexity. So again, are you going to buy into scientism and tell me right here, right now, that all truth comes from science?
Firstly, I want to say I agree with you that I think math is a language that describes the world around us. It's in the same way that English is not a truth. Math is not a truth because someone just saw something, observed it, and put numbers to it, and then put logic to it. Math started as letters. Arabic numerals did not pop up for a very long time. And so...
All right, why did you lose your Christian faith?
I wouldn't say I've lost it.
But you haven't lost it.
I believe in God for different reasons, but I think believing in God for...
But why are you a Christian, though? It's more than believing in God. How come you're a Christian?
I think... this gets away from the topic. I would love to talk about...
Well, you're on 5 different topics here, but I really want to get to the heart of it, because when we go to 5 different topics with a typical student, it's usually more of an emotional issue. If you're just boom, 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 shooting in the dark. Because I really want to know, because you talked about being a Christian, that's truly what I want to know. I want to know the heart of the matter. Well, yes, we can go with the intellect too, but I want to also get the... What's your name?
Ski.
Ski. Yeah. Pleasure. I want to get to know the real Ski here and why he's wrestling so much. Because it sounds like you left the faith, but I'm glad you're saying you didn't leave the faith.
I would say I don't like the word struggling, because I feel like that makes it sound one is objectively right over the other, but I would say I'm in deliverance.
What does that mean, in deliverance?
I would say for 4 or 5 years, I went to church every Sunday.
Okay.
I would pray every other day. I would try my best to uphold.
Does trying your best make you a Christian?
But I would try my best to learn, and that was the best I could do at the time. But
bro, trying your best does not make you a Christian.
That's what I'm struggling with.
Okay.
It's the idea that I kind of realized I wanted to scrutinize and test my beliefs in every way I possibly can.
Awesome.
And
the Bible says to do that.
Yeah, and I feel like once I did that, because that's how I left Judaism.
Okay.
I feel like once I did that, the same cracks began to fall.
It's awesome. It's great. And so your biggest doubt is what? That you can't fulfill the laws right now and work your way to heaven? And so it's frustrating in that way?
No, I think my biggest doubt is I feel like Christianity oftentimes clashes. Christianity, when looked over a long period of time, has shown tendencies to A, not be true, and B, the evolution of religion in general also points to that fact. For example, like Sol, the god of the sun, people would pray to that all the time. There was gods of sea, there was gods of harvest, etc. But then we figured it out. We were like, oh, it's just a
okay, but don't forget, if you're going to be a Christian, it's all about God's grace. Because I hear this pressure you're putting on yourself saying, I went to church, I had to go to church, I tried to live a good life, I tried. That is the opposite of what the Christian faith is all about. The Christian faith, man, is all about Jesus Christ coming to save us, because we can't, in our own efforts, like you beautifully described, we can't ultimately do it ourselves. I've felt the same kind of pressure to try and be a better Christian. But we can't do that. It's by God's grace that ultimately we are saved. Then we respond through the fruits of the Spirit of love, being more loving, joyful, patient, kind, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, live for justice, be self-controlled. And that's a response out of His grace and what He's done for us. So it's not about white-knuckling it. It's not about Christianity giving me all this anxiety and stress and just adding it. because I got all these stinking exams to complete this week, and now also I'm a Christian. That's just going to cause an emotional breakdown in me. No, it's the opposite of that. Jesus came to remove our burdens and say his burden is light. He came and he said, give up your life in order to gain it. That gives me incredible peace right there. Giving up my life, saying, I can't do this anymore, God. I need you to do it. That gives me tremendous strength.
Well, I mean, don't put words in my mouth.
I'm not trying to.
I didn't feel pressured. I feel like they're trying to paint me as like a
Oh, definitely not trying to paint you as anything. I just tried to show you. I helped the deconstruction there of what you were talking about when it came to Christianity.
That right there. You said the deconstruction as if you're trying to paint me as like a struggling unknown person, whereas you know.
Well, I wasn't trying to do
the
that.
Answers.
Okay.
And I feel like that is my big problem with it. I do truly believe. I don't think I'm a good or bad person. I don't think good or bad people exist. I think there's good or bad.
If there is no God, they don't exist. You're right.
I think personally, I like to believe that everyone's trying to do their best and follow their own moral compass. And the problem, and the great part about living is finding that moral compass, figuring out what it is, you know?
Is it from God or not? See, it's so interesting. I'm trying to not paint you in a certain way, but it is very hard to, because you paint yourself in this own type of way where you're saying, I'm a Christian, but at the same time, I'm not, and everybody's just here to be a good person. I've come out of Judaism. That has cracks. This has cracks. So it sounds to me like maybe you should level with agnosticism, but not a closed-minded type of agnosticism. And I like that in you. It's you're doing more searching. Being a college student is about searching, but it's not about searching in a cynical, closed-off kind of way. It's about searching in an open kind of way where you truly do want to find the truth.
I agree, but I feel like this is a cynical way to do it, where arguments are being like there's the dude over there that asked about praying, and the answer was walked around. There was never a clear, like there was never a good logical answer. The dude over there that talks about moral relativity, like that again is not a clear answer. That's dancing around the question. And then you said,
well, I'm not this dude, so I can't answer those questions.
But like,
the dude's getting called out on the same.
You've been using the same.
I know,
old dude's getting called out.
The younger brother can't handle these.
I feel like this is the cynicalness where
so you don't like an open forum of free speech and debate. Is that what I'm hearing?
This isn't free speech and debate. This
isn't free speech out here?
No.
Anybody can ask and say anything they would like to. It's a free speech area. I don't know if this could be any more free speech than it is.
I would say this is a large echo chamber.
Yeah, in closing.
Yeah, make it loud in your final point.
Real loud, and
so people can
drive it hard. What is your main point?
I would say my main point is that the absence of disproof of God does not necessarily mean the proof of God, and to use arguments that are not, and to use arguments and talk in a space that is not truly academic in nature. Yeah. I'm not a religious historian. I'm not a member of like the Pope's like church or whatever. Like I'm not extremely educated, and neither is anyone else here when you really think about it, except for maybe you two.
No. Einstein said, I know less than 1% of all there is to know. If Einstein said that, I can promise you, I know less than 1% of all there is to know.
I agree that, but when it comes to these talking points, if someone comes over here and says, what's the point of praying? This is something that you've thought about for a long time.
Yeah.
But then you didn't answer his question. You walked around it and gave him a feels-good answer, but at the end of it, he said, what's the point in praying? You said, you're not telling God to do something. Then he was like, oh, okay, then that still doesn't mean that there's a point. And then you kept walking around it. And then the moral relativity, again, I feel like you kept walking around it instead of giving premises and a logical argument.
All right, sir, I tried to tell the guy praying is not an experiment in getting, it's an experiment in intimacy. How much more clear can I be?
Then what's the point?
And my relationship with him is not to be based on what I can get from him. My relationship with him is, I want to get to know you. I value you. You're important, and I want to build a friendship with you. Well, it's no different with God. If I'm viewing God as a cosmic bellboy who's going to fetch my bags and put a Mercedes in my driveway because I prayed about it, I'm a hypocrite.
I agree, but...
All right, then I've answered the question, correct?
No, because I would agree that if someone does that, they're a hypocrite, but that doesn't answer the question. You're answering a different...
What is prayer? Prayer is an exercise in intimacy with God.
The question is
building
not
a relationship with God. Pardon?
It's not why is prayer, it's why should I pray?
Well, for the same reason that I'm going to talk to him. Because I want to get to know him. And the reason I pray is because I want to get to know God. I'm sorry if we haven't made that clear. I apologize. I better go back to middle school and learn how to communicate. The point of prayer is not, gimme, gimme, gimme. The point of prayer is, I want to get to know you, God. The point of me talking with this brother is not, hey, you know, I think you could really help me get a better job. So I'm really interested in getting to know you. That's trash. The point of getting to know him is, I treasure you. I value you. In fact, I love you. Therefore, can we build a relationship? Isn't that what all of us are all about?
I think it's important to have conversation in an academic setting, and it's important to scrutinize arguments to actually get an answer and not just dance around and get a happy answer. You know what I mean? I feel like, again, I'm not...
I think we've given you some pretty dark answers, actually. But you're right. Don't come to the Christian faith just because it's experientially healthy or it makes you happy. Come to it because it's the truth or not. So I'm glad you're banging away at this.
So Neil deGrasse Tyson is on Stephen Colbert, and he says, the good thing about science is that it's true regardless of what you believe. Well, guess what, Neil? That's true about every area of truth.
Yeah.
Truth is real regardless of what I believe, regardless of what he believes, regardless of what you believe. So we're standing out here saying God is real, which means God is true. We're standing out here saying Jesus Christ was real and he's alive today, which means Jesus is real, which means Jesus is true.
Is Jesus Christ, did he exist as a historical figure? Well, 98.9% of the professors around here would say yes, so he probably existed as a historical figure. Did he claim to be God? Most people think he claimed to be God. Now, the resurrection, what's the evidence behind that? Is there enough or is there not for him to actually be God? So you go to the historical documents of the New Testament to figure out, did this thing really happen or not? Then you go to extra-biblical documents. We named many of them. Tacitus, Celsus, Josephus, and you check them out. If you look at all of them, you could throw the Bible out and still get the entire story of Christianity. That's pretty crazy. So what you're thinking is you took just this, you threw a quick dart at the Catholic Church. We aren't Catholic. And you said the Catholic Church here is just to make us comfortable or to bring structure. And a lot of that is true. Like I said, we agree in that way. But it has nothing to do with whether the Christian faith is real and reliable.
I'm a Christian. I believe Jesus died on the cross for me. But in reading my Bible, there's some things I come to struggle with a little bit. I just kind of want your help on how I should be reading those.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things, the first thing that comes to mind is, like, Jonah getting swallowed by a whale.
Yeah.
Did that actually happen? Did he get swallowed by a whale and spit back up? And just some of that stuff kind of struggles in my brain.
Do you know the splitting of the Red Sea can actually happen? Like they've actually shown that, Christians and non-Christians, that scientifically that could occur because there's big storms in the Red Sea, as well as the winds can get very strong. So it could potentially happen. They've also shown that the size of that whale, most likely a human being could have fit in there and actually survived. They don't know how long, maybe 3 days and 3 nights. But they said, naturalistically, that actually could happen. Now, the chances of both of those are tiny. So usually I don't go with naturalistic responses. And yet you have the metaphorical piece of Jesus spent 3 days in the tomb. So it's like Jonah. So there's a piece there where it's not just supposed to focus on literalism. But then also, if there is a God of the entire universe, he could make that happen. He can absolutely make that happen. And it wouldn't be astonishing whatsoever. If there is in the beginning, not the parts that we don't understand, but the parts that we do, so it's not God of the gaps, it's we understand these parts that he's given us. Now we do good science to figure out how they work even more. If there is a beginning, if there is not a virgin birth of the universe like an atheist believes, then that's the greatest miracle imaginable, next to the resurrection. But this one actually happened. We have scientific proof of that. And so he could definitely put a man in a whale and then remove him after 3 days. And you don't have to go the naturalistic route to explain it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Based on, I don't know too much about, like, Christianity, I guess, so
Okay.
I don't know how
the decisions that are made based on if someone did live their own life without Christianity, but it was an option. And for 60 years, like, I'm not 60 years, like, just a long amount of time, a long period of time. I just don't, like, where is...
All right, sir, you're asking a very hard question. We've got to start at the foundation.
Okay.
What is God like? Because obviously the question that you're asking is really pressing the point, is God going to rip people off? It's a great question. Now, is God going to condemn a little kid to hell who's never heard about Christ? What a rip-off. Okay, that's what you're asking, right?
Well, like, I'm saying they have. This is, like, different from the tribe thing. I'm saying they have heard of Christ,
okay,
but
fine.
they just weren't grown up with it.
Well, let's get real honest. Is God going to rip you off? Is God going to rip me off? Is God going to rip him off or him off? What do you think?
No.
What do you think?
No, because according to the Christian
What
view,
do you think?
is he going to rip us
Is
off?
God going to rip people off?
In the fact that is he going to take us to heaven or hell?
Is he going to screw you royally? Come on, guys. How much more kind of plain can I get? Is God an ogre?
No.
Who's out to rip people off? Okay, why do you think God's not an ogre?
Loves everybody.
Well, why on earth do you think God is love? Why? Why do you think God loves? Why do you think he's just? Why?
Give us free will.
All right, now, sir, it's rather simple to answer that question. Hi, my name's Cliff. What's your name?
Aiden.
Frank? What's your name?
Aiden.
Harry. Not only am I being rude to Aiden, I'm being an incredible, arrogant twit. His name is Aiden. It's not Frank, and it's not Thomas.
Yeah.
I have to have the humility to allow Aiden to reveal to me who Aiden is. Well, if that's true between Aiden and Cliff, that's even more true between God and Cliff.
Okay.
And there's too much suffering, there's too many people getting messed up for me to conclude that God loves us all. I don't know that God loves you from just life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of trash.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Okay. So, the question is, when Jesus claims to be God, opening up and revealing that he really does love you, is he lying? Or is he speaking the truth? What do you think?
I mean, I guess speaking truth.
Okay, why? Why do you think Jesus is speaking the truth?
You got it. Spit it out.
Repeat what you just said.
Okay, now listen. Just relax. I like you a lot. I like you a lot, okay? All right, you're doing well. All right, keep going. Why do you believe that Jesus, or that God loves you? Why?
Because I guess I'm here.
Okay.
If I wasn't here, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Okay, but see, it gets back to Aiden and Cliff. I can't see God. I can't prove God. The same way, yes, I can see Aiden's body. But when I'm talking to Aiden, I'm talking to his mind, and I can't see his mind. The same thing with God. I can't see God, can't grab him. But Jesus claimed to be God, opening up and revealing himself in a way that Aiden and I can understand, and you can understand, with our rational minds. And what Jesus said is, God really does love you. Now, if you suffer bad enough, you're going to say, I don't know about this. I don't know that God's loving, because I'm hurting big time. But according to Jesus Christ, life is unfair, and it will screw you over at times. It'll be great at other times. But according to Jesus Christ, even when life is unfair and is kicking the snot out of you, God is still loving. And he still loves you.
Okay, but back to the original, of if someone was to live with, and they were taught only the practices of a different religion.
Yeah.
And they were, I'm sure, most of us, that we were only taught a practice of one religion, which could be Christianity. Or some people, I don't know about other people, but if someone else in a different culture was only taught a single religion, but they've also heard of, other religions like Islam and Christianity.
Yeah.
Are they also, they're given the choice to pick up a Bible, but they've been taught it for so long, and their parents and then their grandparents have lived by the way that they've been taught. So are they going to go to hell?
Shit, like Coco.
The only reason people go to hell is because they deliberately choose to live their life separate from God, which means you can relax. The answer to your question is, God is not going to rip anybody off. The only reason people will spend eternity separate from God is because they chose to live their life separate from God, and God will simply grant their requests and give them what they asked for.
So would you consider them being living from separate from God?
It's an act of actively.
Frank, how you doing, buddy? Thomas, how you doing? Sorry, Cliff, you're out of touch with reality. This is not Frank. This is not Thomas. This is Aiden. Sorry, Jesus, I can't accept you. Fine. What you're saying is, God, I am rejecting your clearest revelation of yourself.
But it's almost unfair to them, though, if they were lived up to be taught by that, because they almost don't have a choice. If they're taught by that from a young age, it's like they almost don't have a choice. Like, of course they're going to believe.
You have got to be kidding me.
Of course they're going to believe.
How many students at Texas State were raised to go to church and believe in Jesus, and now that they're at university, they don't believe in Christ? Please don't give me this line. We're all just a result of our culture. We respect Gandhi. We respect Dr. Martin Luther King. Why? Because they contradicted the culture and they followed their conscience and their rational mind instead of their culture. That's why we respect them. And guess what, sir? You don't have to believe anything. You choose what you're going to believe. And guess what, sir? If I pay you, if I say, your name is
Tyler.
Tyler. If I say, Tyler, there's a pink elephant right here. And this pink elephant has given my life joy and peace and satisfaction. Are you going to believe in that pink elephant? No.
No, but...
But if I offer you $1 million to believe in that pink elephant, will you believe in it? No. You might say you believe in it, but your mind will not allow you to believe in the pink elephant right here. You can lie to me and say, oh yeah, Cliff, I believe in pink elephant, so give me the $1 million.
But isn't that...
But you know very well you don't believe it. Because it ain't there. And your mind, because you're a rational person, will not allow you to believe that.
Well, based on that, like the pink elephant thing,
yeah,
isn't Christianity the same way? Like, if you believe in this, you'll go to heaven. Kind of like if you believe in the elephant, you'll be given money.
Okay, good. No. Christianity is based on Jesus lived a real life that was magnificent. In my best moments, I tried to live like Jesus, and I failed. Secondly, he taught amazing ethical teachings. The Sermon on the Mount. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If someone strikes you on the right cheek, turn to them the other also. Incredible ethics. Thirdly, dying on a cross, instead of cursing his enemies the way I would have, he prayed, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Boy, I'd have told those blankety blanks where they could go. I wouldn't be saying, oh, Lord, please forgive these guys who nailed me to a cross. But Jesus did. That demands my respect. But fourthly, Tyler?
Yes.
Fourthly, Tyler, and most importantly, 3 days after he died, he physically, bodily rose from the dead, and over a period of 40 days appeared to over 500 people. No pink elephant. 500 people saw Jesus risen from the dead, and guess what, Tyler? Many of them died, not for belief, died not for religion, they died for an historical fact. They had seen the dead Christ risen from the dead. That, Tyler, is why I believe in Jesus. Not because he's like a pink elephant. No. But because the historical evidence is he lived an amazing life, he taught incredible ethical teachings, he died on a cross loving and forgiving his enemies, and he rose from the dead. And that's why you should believe in Jesus. Because guess what, Tyler? I'm not going to embarrass you, but if I ask you, what are you living for, Tyler? You're going to struggle a bit, but then I think you'll come up with something. Maybe myself, I live for myself, or I live for money, or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when I ask you the second question, Tyler, it's going to get real embarrassing. Because I'm going to ask you, what's the evidence that what you're living for is true? And the answer that you will give me will be embarrassing.
Why do I live for myself?
What is it that you live for? What are you living for?
Myself, I guess.
Okay. What's the evidence that you are so reliable that you should put your faith ultimately in yourself?
Does there need to be evidence to have faith in myself?
Yeah. There better be evidence before you trust anybody or anything. Otherwise, you are blindly following a fool. Don't blindly follow a fool. You better demand evidence before you trust. Otherwise, people will eat your lunch. You don't think so? I bet you do think that. That's why you locked your car, and that's why you locked your door. Because you know very well that people will get you if you're not really smart. So you better not just trust anybody. You better say, before I trust you, I got to have some evidence that you're not going to rip me off. Jesus will never rip you off. You will rip yourself off. I will rip myself off. Why? Because you and I are fickle, finite, sinful people. We say one thing, we do another.
Yeah.
Right? We know guilt. So we mess up. Jesus never messed up. That means he's reliable. That's why I trust him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
You're a delight to talk to, man.
Thanks.
I can't thank you, man. Now, what part didn't we answer? Your thoughtfulness. See, it's a challenge out here to get people to think. And you think, and I appreciate and respect you. Keep going, Tyler.
I feel like the only real thing is just,
Yes?
it's just back to the original for me. It's just like kind of like, it just doesn't like fit right, I guess. It's just like more of just, you say like you need rational thinking to decide between two different things. Like
Yes.
before the pink elephant thing, when I was
Right.
talking about like if someone was growing up by their parents, they shouldn't just believe what their parents said. You should do rational thinking.
Yeah.
But how can you say that? But when someone, it's easier to say that if you aren't grown up with something that's taught for you for years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But all of us are taught things for years when we're children, right? We're taught some view of life, some view of reality. All of us are. Be it atheism, agnosticism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity. Our parents model something for us. If you got a deadbeat dad, let's be real honest, he's modeling the wrong thing. But he's modeling.
yeah.
Right? A father who abuses you, he's modeling the wrong thing, but he's modeling. So we all are influenced by our environment, right? But we're not slaves to our environment. We can think it through. Do I want to be a deadbeat dad in light of the fact that my dad was a deadbeat dad? Do I want to abuse kids in light of the fact that my dad abused me? No, I don't have to abuse kids. And I don't have to be a deadbeat dad. Why? Because I've got a will, a mind, and a conscience, and so does every single one of us in this circle.
Good.
That make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. All right. That's all I had.
Man, thank you so much, Tyler. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this episode. Would love for you to join the family and hit that subscribe button. Also wanted to invite you to our church, Grace Community Church in New Canaan, Connecticut. Hope to see you there.